Should we do the final? All right, right. There's a second name on here, somebody tell me. Charlie Douglas. Yeah, it is Charlie. All right. Right about like I do, Charlie. Yeah.
I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. Can we stand for the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, I just ask that you be with us tonight. Lord, I just ask, please put your hand on all those victims in Texas. And we say this in your name, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Councilwoman Cantu.
Here.
Councilwoman McCann. Here. Councilwoman Patton. Here. Councilman Walshy.
Here.
Councilman Grable.
Here.
And Councilwoman Pugh. Here.
I need a motion to suspend the reading and approve the minutes of the June 2nd, 2025 regular meeting. Can we do both of these in the same motion? And also the June 19th, 2025 special call meeting.
I'll say that.
Councilwoman Cantu.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCann.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton. Yes. Councilman Walshy.
Yes.
Councilman Grable.
Sure.
Councilwoman Pugh. Yes.
Do you have anything from Lake Plant Board?
No, I haven't.
Any old business? In new business, we have the first reading of ordinance number 200.00C, budget amendment for the 24-25 fiscal year. Well, give that.
Yes,
An ordinance of the City of Vanceburg, Kentucky, amending the 2024-2025 budget for the City of Vanceburg, Kentucky by adjusting revenues and adjusting resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government.
Discussion.
Yes,
I thought there was nothing wrong with that budget.
proceed.
Everybody in here said that they didn't see anything wrong with the numbers, everything was great, there was no problems. But they proceeded without these numbers, they proceeded to pass the next budget. So evidently they didn't have a problem with this budget. So I don't understand what we're doing here. And how are you amending a budget that's over? It's done. It's in the past.
Okay. Any comment to that?
what did you amend in?
We've had, he didn't understand contingency where he got money left over. He's evidently never had a budget, or if he did, he didn't know what it's like to have money left over. But,
Is that basically it? There's
Yeah.
excess revenue and the budget
So
amendment?
you adjusted?
No, that's not. If you look at this amendment, it's not. When I looked at the numbers, after I had an opportunity to get the report, and I looked at the numbers, there were 33 lines on the budget last year that were overspent without city council approval, without a budget amendment. 33 lines. And if you total the overage, not the lines themselves, but total the overage was $547,000 plus that they spent over those 33 lines that was appropriated. And now, after the budget is completely done, we're completely out of that year even, now they want to go back and they want to amend it. That's what we're doing here. And I just don't understand, I don't understand that at all.
We're not completely.
When nobody had a problem, I tried to bring it up and nobody had a problem with it before. And now we're going to go back and amend a budget that they overspent 33 lines on and $547,000 plus overspent without city council approval, without a budget amendment. I don't understand what we're doing.
You were talking about last year's budget, even at that meeting, though, correct?
Correct. And you said you looked at the numbers and you didn't see any problem.
I
Absolutely.
looked at the numbers of this year's fiscal budget and did not see any problems.
I thought
You said you looked at the canceled checks and you looked at the numbers and you didn't see a problem. Now, it's on record. We can pull it up on YouTube if you like.
I could care less about that.
That's the problem. You guys can care less about what's going on in this budget.
Speak for yourself there, John.
Well,
If you want to throw out insults, just take it on out.
where's the care? Where was the care before this came to this? Where, in the last year, nobody ever looked at how much overspending there was until after we passed the budget
Well,
for this year.
as I recall, the only thing you brought up was the professional fees.
No, I said I had taken a few that I've manually figured because I didn't have the report to bring it up. But I figured by hand a few of these, and I used that one as an example, and there were several others. And after I got the report, which was after this year's budget was passed, I got the report, and there were 33 lines that were overspent, and they were overspent by $547,000 plus. Now, nobody else cared to even look into it.
Now, since we have made amendments continuously, we would have to look at them.
If they were amended, it would show up as amended. If they were amended, the new amount would be pertinent and it would be fine. But it wasn't. 33 lines. So in other words, the city council meant nothing last year. Because the main thing that our job is to control the purse strings. And the purse strings were never controlled by city council.
Oh, well, thank God we got you now.
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so.
That's all I can say.
Any more discussion? Dennis Brown with Emergency Management, he wants to speak.
Thank you. I did send an email out with a request yesterday to council members. I've got a copy that I've already passed out. I would like to summarize that for the folks who are here. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I am here on behalf of Lewis County 911 to request financial assistance from the city of Vanceburg to help sustain professional, reliable emergency dispatch services that our city's residents and first responders depend on every day. Executive George Sparks expresses his regret for not being able to attend the meeting this evening. He's tending to other business at Lewis County EMS. He asked me to express his appreciation to the city for the financial assistance provided as we transition from a privately owned and operated ambulance service, which we were required to subsidize for several months until we could arrange to fund and establish our own Lewis County EMS, which has just completed 1 year of service to our citizens. I'm aware that your fiscal year budget has just been approved, and I appreciate your consideration of this linked request. This proposal comes in response to newly confirmed 911 budget shortfalls that put our ongoing dispatch operations at risk. During this time, I'm also working to identify longer-term solutions, including legislative and fee-based models that would eliminate any need for subsidies from the city or county. But in the meantime, we need your help. Lewis County 911 handles every police, fire, and EMS call in Vanceburg and all of Lewis County 24/7. From July 2024 to June 2025, we dispatched 1,454 CAD calls for the Vanceburg Police Department alone, averaging more than 120 calls a month. This does not include daily officer callbacks, message relays, or general information calls. The center provides expanded coverage during special events like the July Jubilee, Lions Club Fair, and other events that are likely to result in additional traffic through the 911 center. The center also maintains a video-monitored safe exchange zone for custody transfers, a service that benefits Vanceburg families while reducing police workload. Our primary funding comes from a $3.50 a month landline surcharge. Landlines are disappearing at a rate much faster than I had anticipated. The 70-cent wireless fee each month on each of our cell phones goes to the CMRS board, which redistributes those funds to dispatch centers across the state, primarily Kentucky State Police. Vanceburg has been the recipient of $5,200 to $5,500 each year for the past several years of that. Our total revenue for 911 for last fiscal year was $271,342. That amount included a carryover from the previous year of more than $88,000. Expenses totaled $482,500, a shortfall of more than $210,000. Calls for the city Vanceburg Police Department represent, over the past year, 12% of all CAD calls. According to the 2020 census, Vanceburg had 14% of all county households, more than 50% of business locations. I am formally requesting that the city of Vanceburg contribute $4,000 a month toward 911 dispatch operations to help bridge this shortfall. This figure represents a fair and proportional investment in the dispatch system that the police department relies on every day. This is part of an interim funding strategy while we work toward a fair fee model for all stakeholders. These changes, like the ambulance service, will take some time, legislative support, and stakeholder agreement. With your support, we will help to maintain 24/7 coverage with trained and certified dispatchers, interagency communications, and creation of CAD reports for officers, fully redundant radio and 911 call systems, weather monitoring, public alerting, siren activation, a secure professional communications infrastructure used by all agencies, and continued eligibility for state and federal 911 grants. This is not a crisis. It is a chance for partnership. I believe Vanceburg values professional emergency response, and this support request is an investment in that priority. I welcome each of you to tour our dispatch center at any time to see these services in action and ask any questions you may have. I appreciate your time, your consideration, and your continued commitment to public safety, and I'll gladly answer any questions.
I feel like it's important for us to pay our share because we're grateful to have that service like we've talked about. We have now a countywide ambulance service, and it's growing, and it's obvious that you're going to need more funds because I know that the county's struggling too. I don't know how anybody else feels, but I feel like we should do it.
And basically what you're saying is we're utilizing roughly 12, a little over 12% of that. Those services are basically, we're benefiting from that.
Of all of the CAD calls, yes, And now, everyone who has a landline is paying that $3.50 fee, whether
Sure.
they live in Vanceburg or Concord or Straightforward.
Sure.
Personally, 2 years ago, I had 12, between my businesses and personal accounts, 12 landlines. I've got one. How many of us don't have landlines anymore? That was our income.
Is there any talk of maybe adding that surcharge to cell phones? Because that's what everybody uses.
They do.
Cell phones, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said they do, that you explained, you don't get that money.
70 cents is on every cell phone in Kentucky.
Right, and I knew
That all
that
goes to the state.
Right.
The state divvies it up across, KSP gets most of it for their dispatch centers. The rest of it goes to PSAPs across the state based on call volume and population. I've got a budget here somewhere, but I think we got about $108,000 last year from that CMRS funding. But of that 70 cents, we actually only get about 14 cents per cell phone. We can add to the landlines, but we cannot add to the cell phones because it's the way that it's set up. You could live here but have a cell phone number based in
Right. Amazing.
where we're from. So that's how they came up with that strategy. But the legislature has been working on a more fair way to distribute that money or increase that fee. There are others, several counties on their own have done different things. Some are charging a fee based on households, $100 per year per household. Based on meters, they can charge $10 a month per meter, but on utility bill, we're looking for the most fair way to be able to do that to serve all of the citizens. In the meantime, we've got a shortfall that's, I was told last week by our county treasurer that we've got less money in that account now than we've ever had since time when we started. We have about $19,000 in there, and it covers about 2 pay periods. It is the first of the quarter, so we'll be getting some CMRS money in, and that 911 money will be coming in, so it's not critical. And fiscal court will help us out as needed to. I plan to go to them next Monday with a similar request.
Do you have a budget for us to look at with you?
I'll be glad, yes, I do have one with me. I'll be glad to give you a copy of it.
And Brad, your opinion is better probably than anybody's. You take care of the checkbook, and you know if we can, if we feel like we can do it or we can't.
It's not up to Brad, that's up to council.
Well, no, I understand it's up to council, but her opinion is vital.
Jenny, what I have an issue with is the residents of Vanceburg already pay county taxes. They're coming here and asking us to pay again. They don't go to Garrison or anyplace else. I pay taxes, my money goes into their general fund, and they are supposed to budget it out for their rate.
I agree, and
Why do we always have to be asked? You come to us, they come to us whenever
Well,
they're
that
short. They
also
need to
That
budget.
happened the other, excuse me, I didn't mean to jump in. I'm still talking. But that also kind of worked in the reverse when people who paid insurance on their cars to the county, city, Angie will remember that, she was mayor then, she stood her ground, and the city got their money.
but the county gets their part
That was on
and the
mine.
city gets their part.
Mhm.
What it was is in the insurance premium tax, we didn't have an ordinance to receive that money.
Right.
So once we passed that ordinance, everybody that lived in the city or owned the business in the city and had to pay that insurance premium tax, then it started coming to the city.
Well, it's only
But
fair.
they had gotten it because the lack of the city passing an ordinance.
So they all the
There is,
Well, until Angie's mayor, you don't have to hear of it.
right.
I would like to say that it's not based on property taxes or any
start at the 911. I mean, I know I don't know how many you get now, but that price was $3 and something, from what I understand, as I recall, you can tell me if I'm wrong, that was what you had decided, as a board decided when you started 911?
They did, and it has been the same since.
Right.
I don't know why it's never been.
Do you
addressed.
still have a board?
There is a 911 board that meets quarterly. Fiscal court actually would be setting that rate at the recommendation of the 911 board, but we have to request it actually to the Public Service Commission and to the state.
Before you raise it?
There are so few landlines anymore, almost every county around us, as well as Berea, Madison County just recently enacted one. And I've got some samples of ordinances that we're considering now.
You don't really know how many customers you have. You just have a total that you get paid, but you really don't know how. Say you raised it 50 cents to $4 or something like that. You don't know how much revenue that would generate for them.
They were dropping so quickly. Landlines, this is from Windstream. Now, there are no fees on VoIP. You've got VoIP phone systems, Red Central, things like that. There are no charges on those if you use internet phone systems. There's only 70 cents on cell phones, which gives the state to get 14 cents. In fiscal year 18-19, Windstream total was $178,000. Average monthly received from them was $15,000 on the fees. The last year that I have is for 24-25, and our average monthly was $8,500.
$8,500.
What about Spectrum, Dennis, since it's been
It's
introduced?
a VoIP, so there's no fee on it.
On
You
the
pay
phone.
$9 or $19, whatever it is, and there's no charges on it. There's no. From what
I
I
actually
gather,
pulled my bill up, but it wasn't broke down like Windstream's is.
Windstream does add
Not
that
breaking down.
because landlines are required to add that if we have that fee. So they do add it to landlines. Any VoIP has no fee for 911. They can't add it. We can't add locally, the state can't add it. Because you can be anywhere on your computer and make a VoIP call or on your app. They don't know if you live in Lewis County or St. Louis.
Gotcha.
There's no way to track that.
Dennis,
Sir,
you understand the argument about people paying county taxes and pay city taxes as well. So it seems like a little bit of double taxation here for the same service. Could you differentiate that some for me and explain why the city should chip in more? I mean, I appreciate what you do. I know what a vital service this is and the importance of it. But could you explain, answer the lady's question basically about we're paying county taxes already?
the 911 center is funded by that, primarily that fee. If the budget makes its way around to you, you'll see that 911 fee. And it's dropped considerably in the past few years. And then we get that portion of the cell phone fee.
So it has little to do with the county or the city, in a sense. It's just a fee based on.
If you live in Vanceburg and you have a landline, you pay $3.50. If you live anywhere in Lewis County and you have a landline, you pay $3.50 on each one. Whether it's a business line or residential fax. But there are so few landlines anymore that cost, that amount has come down for our income. So it's not based on property taxes. The county does pick up, if we get a grant, they do pay the matching funds. The county owns the building, county taxes are going toward that. But the fee, ever since, to try and make a long story short, George Plummer, I think it was back in 87, 88, wanted to establish 911. So he just had Windstream set up 911 to bring him to the jail. The jail answered 911 calls and dispatched from there. Later, they were able to establish that fee and open the 911 center. At that time, there were very few, maybe many cell phones. So, and even at that time, the budget was about $600,000. And it's a whole lot less now, and our expenses will have a whole lot more. Payroll, fiber, and you'll see about things around here. And we don't spend any money we don't have to. You'll see on, I think it's the second line item there for the administrator, zero. I volunteered to kind of oversee that since it's in my building, so there's no fee for the administrator. We cut every nickel that we can. I negotiated phone lines down to try to save every penny we can. I try to do away with as much overtime as we can. There's not a whole lot left to cut. I'm asking for the assistance at this time, and we'll be asking the county the same thing. The options, if we do get to the point where we don't have the funding, are to contract at that point with, say, Greenwood County, who gets our rollovers now. If something happens, we go down, they would receive our calls and dispatch. Maybe not 24 hours a day, we could do daytime, let them have nights. Another option would be for Kentucky City Police to take over dispatching for law enforcement. For certain hours, certain portions of the day. I've not explored those options because we're not at that point yet. I'm trying to keep from having to go that route.
So Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong, if we had to go that option, in my opinion, I think it would be better to keep the staff that we have over at 911 because, say, you had to do somebody in Greenup, they're not going to know where Tar Fork is. It's straight for Cabin Creek. I mean, the staff we have, we got the best of the dispatchers. I mean, am I ruling the county? I know those ladies, I know. They're pretty good. I mean, they know it. They know it inside and out. I also know when I work with the county, I hate to use this term Band-Aid fix, but we had a Band-Aid fix, and the city gave $3,000 a month when we were trying to get this up and running. I wonder, is that something you all would like to look at? You know, just for like a 6-month trial and see where we're at in 6 months.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to keep the staff that we've got because in the grand scheme of things, well, number one is jobs for the county. But number two, like she said, they know this stuff inside and out. And I would much rather see this stay local and we keep things funded the way they are. And basically what he's asking is, he's asking us the same thing he's getting ready to go ask the county. He's asking us to help to pay our share. Our share is about 12%, he's asking for 10. He's gonna go to the county, I'm sure, to do the same thing. So in my opinion, I think it's a great thing, and I would make a motion to just do this year and see if we can, I don't see a reason why we can't do this year. And we can look at it on a year-by-year basis. But I think I agree with your call. I think we need to make sure that we report to each give it the best shot.
If I can interject very quickly, I would put our dispatchers up against any in the state, and I've worked with a lot of them, even with the state SEOC. Our starting pay, and I'm not looking for money to raise pay, our starting pay is $12 an hour. I saw last week Kroger is advertising starting pay at $15.80. It's hard to attract and retain good dispatchers. The ones we have are dedicated. They love Lewis County, or they would be working for KSP or Greenup or someone else.
And they've been there for years. I mean, they have been there.
about the board and ask questions. In the beginning, I believe it was Joe, maybe another, you were on that board when they started. I feel if the city is going to contribute, I think that someone should be representing the city.
Joe Paul does.
Joe Paul.
Joe Paul's on board.
He's on it, okay, that's good to
Yeah,
know.
the chief manager is on board. I think maybe, is the mayor on the 911 board?
We just had one, it was always the chief of police.
Are the people that work there, are they county employees?
Mayor county employees.
See, I don't get that. If we have to budget. With
But you
our
budgeted
tax dollars.
$3,000 for the ambulance, the city.
And I didn't do that either. I mean, I'm for these things, but I think we've already paid for them. If the county hires that many people, then they must have budgeted money for them, for their tax, just like us. You know, if we run short, we don't come up to the county and say, we can't afford to pay these people. You make cuts maybe in other areas. I'm all for 911, I'm all for the ambulance service, but I just think the citizens of Vanceburg, they get a chance, and I don't think that's fair.
I think it's coming out of different pockets, so is the issue, you know, I think.
Yeah, but no, when he goes over and asks the county, that's our money in that fund.
I agree with
We've
that.
paid for that. You're worried about our budget, John.
I am
This
worried
is
about
one
it.
of those things where we can pass it out if you think that makes everybody happy. And that's not fair to us.
That citizens in Vanceburg have been, a lot has had this happen. We pay county taxes, and then just for an example, Buffalo Trace says, well, the county's gonna pay this. What's the city gonna pay? Well, everybody that lives in the city's already paid for it, and it's double taxation. But my concern is, one thing, our tax revenue from property taxes is not even 48,000. If we did not have income where we owned originally and had invested in the utility system, we wouldn't even be here. We've done a loss ourselves. We get 150,000 a year from the insurance premium tax, and we didn't have that until we enacted that in what, 2009. And there was a time where the utility company was not wanting to pay, even though we had invested $17 million to start that board. And we were sitting here gone. We had no money. We was in your position. And if we hadn't have enacted that insurance premium tax, we had to send everybody home. So I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that this is very important. But I also think that I would really feel more comfortable if the citizens of Vanceburg knows we're doing this. See, I can't feel like, I just found this out, you know, you sent this out. I don't feel that I can make a decision on this tonight. And I also am not sure that I'm comfortable with 48,000. And, I mean, help, but how much can we help? Because the fact of the matter is, if we didn't have our income from our utility company, and that can be gone any day, that can be gone any day, is we wouldn't be making it. Our city would not be able, we would lose our police department and a lot of other things. But how much is our road funds a year? But that is asking for our full property tax revenue plus some. I think it's what, 42,000 something. And we've never raised property taxes either. I mean, when people say, well, how in the world can you? Well, we were asking to take tax, I know they pay their taxes, and that's not a lot, but it's a lot for people who live here. And our road funds, we're, sometimes we get maybe 52, sometimes 30s, and unless we get extra, that's a lot of blacktop and just different things. But I do think it's important we have our money. I do.
How much of a crisis situation is this, Dennis? I mean, how much time, would it be possible to speak to the county and then we revisit this next meeting? Or would that give people more time to research and dig a little deeper and get questions answered? Would that be much of an inconvenience for you?
No, it's not critical at this point. I'm trying to head it off, but it's going to take some time to work out where we're going to pick up that slack, so I'm looking for that bridge in between.
You made the comment that there was 2 months of the dispatcher's salaries, there were 2 months for.
Last week and I don't know if we've gotten any checks in yet for this quarter. Last week we had $19,000 in the 911 account, which covers 2 pay periods for a month. So we will have funds coming in.
Do you receive any grant money?
We do receive grant money. It is earmarked for hardware primarily. Last year we refreshed our CADing system. This year we're refreshing all of the 911 telephone system. So we'll have pretty much all new equipment there thanks to grants. The county has paid the matching on that and has paid a low price fee
Well,
on those.
as you recall, you kept us in equipment, the city, how many years, Dennis, done dispatching? I know when I came on council in '95, you were taking care of our equipment, but we were paying maybe $10,000 a year for someone to do it out of their home.
I worked on the equipment when it was moved from Mayor Shelton's home to Norman Mefford's home. Norman and Francis actually dispatching in their home.
And
If
then
you call at 10 p.m., you woke Francis up. and she-
Don and Karen Stafford, they had it a little while.
Yeah, I've been at it for a while.
Yeah, well, I know we had the city, we come up with the money for many years.
Well, the city did dispatch for their own for several years. That Norman
But
and
we
Francis.
also,
I think they did it for $100
but the
a month.
county used that dispatching too, didn't it, when I came here?
I think Bill Conley started dispatching countywide until 911 kind of brought everything together.
But, I mean, back when we had the 2111 line, which we don't have anymore, we got a lot of calls from the city and the county. I mean, the county got a lot of calls too.
Well, they
And it's
dispatched
kind of
the sheriff's
slowly
department through ours for a while,
switched to
and then said
911.
through the city for a second. While I was here for about 15 years, I think. But the 911, when did you start the 911? I know it was after 9/11.
Dennis.
George Plummer began that, and I say it just, he had Windstream set where if you called 911, it just rang you to the jail, and they dispatched from there. It took about 4 years to actually get everything
Yeah.
where we could put a 911 center together.
Can your board like do some fundraisers or anything like that, or is that something that's not, would be helpful? Or I also thought Dr. Benz from Primary Plus is your medical director, right?
For EMS, this is 911.
Oh, you're right, that is. That's right. I thought maybe.
We've got 4 full-time dispatchers and a trainee. And the 911 board is pretty much, everybody else has full-time jobs. It's hard to have fundraisers and things like that. there are possibilities, and I'm trying to look at every funding option just to bridge this gap right now. And that's why I'm here. And, council helped with that ambulance issue when we had it. Of course, there was a little extra money then because of COVID. We had that ARPA funding. I know budgets are tight. Obviously, the one that I've given you for 911, if you take a look at it, it doesn't look good. And that's why I'm here tonight. I wouldn't come and ask you unless I voted for you.
I believe that.
And everybody was so excited, oh my gosh, this is going to work. We've got all these ambulances donated to us. It was really a wonderful effort.
They just recently added a second truck, and it's been busy, but we get enough calls, but we still have to call AAA. And we're this close to getting our ALS certification.
Now, the ambulance service is separate, I know, budget, separate money, and, I know, this, I don't see how you could, if they're doing well, they're probably, it's new, you're trying to get it up and going. Could it pay for any of the, like 1 or 2 salaries for, over to the dispatch, or is that a no way situation?
George is at that meeting tonight, or I would be there giving the same help to them. We are going to ask, I know that they're getting rolling, but they are doing well. So we're not going to ask volunteer fire departments to contribute because their budgets are already tight.
Agreed.
So that's something we're not going to do. We are going to, I am going to ask the county as well as IMU and EMS. And those are primarily the dispatcher.
Well, as far as the proposal is concerned, he's presented a proposal. And that doesn't, if it doesn't pass, it doesn't mean he can't come back with a different proposal or come back and discuss things again. But I think we should put it to a vote. And if we want it, we should put it forward.
I think a motion has been made.
Okay, so.
You made a motion, I'll second it.
John made the motion to go ahead and approve the request, is that right?
And I seconded it.
For the 48,000,
Correct.
for how long?
For 1 year. The 48,000 covers 1 year, $4,000 a year.
In the event that we find something before then, we'll be like to the ambulance service and come back and say, thank you, we no longer need that assistance.
Well, don't we sort of need to look at our budget to see, since our budget gets questioned,
Yeah.
before we could actually vote on that.
Well,
I don't feel comfortable voting until.
Well, the motion's been made, I guess, second, about part of that, so we'll go ahead and take the roll call.
Councilwoman Cantu?
I just have a question. So this is for 1 year for the 48,000, but I thought we were gonna think about doing like the 6 month. I fully support it, but I'm just a little confused about the year.
This here's for the 1 year, $48,000. The motion's been made, and it's been seconded, so I know what you're
Yes or
saying. I
no?
thought we were gonna look at it, but I thought they would have tabled it, but the motion's on the floor, so.
I vote yes.
Councilwoman McCann?
I'm sorry, I want to support, but I don't want to support the whole year. So I'll have to say no. I mean, 6 months I would have been good with, or even tabled it.
Councilwoman Patton?
I feel the same way now.
Councilman Walgie?
No, at this time.
And Councilman Grable?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Pugh?
Yes.
So we are in a tie, 3 yeses and 3 noes.
I feel the same way. I think that it should have been tabled. We need to look at our budget a little more since it's in question tonight, so I don't know.
At this time, that's how
And I would
I
like to
feel
make a motion to
this, on
table.
this night, is how I feel this is not.
Yes.
I think it would be possible.
I'd like to make a motion to table this to our next meeting. Would that be okay?
But I don't know if it's been that crucial.
Jared, I made a motion to table it until our next meeting. This is not an absolute no.
Motion been made.
Second,
What's the motion, I'm sorry.
to table it till the next meeting.
Dennis.
Wait, we gotta move on. Motion's been made. We need to, we got,
Councilwoman, Cantu,
Yes.
Councilwoman, McCann,
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton,
Yes.
Councilman Walshy,
Yes.
Councilman Grable,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Pugh. Yes.
be tabled.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
I don't think it's dead in the water, I just think it.
No, we've got your budget to look at and,
John, do y'all have copies?
Yes, we have that.
Do you two have copies? Of this, what Dennis gave?
Yes. Thank you very much.
We need the approval of Ethics Board member Melanie Reese, her term to expire July 1st, 2026. And Melanie is, they voted a few months ago where we can move this out of the county. And Melanie is a 20-year, has worked with hospice for 20 years. She is a nurse coordinator with hospice. She is on the hospice ethics committee. And so I have brought her name up for a vote for her term to expire July 1st of next year.
I'll make a motion to accept Melanie.
I'll second
Councilwoman Cantu,
it. Yes.
and Councilwoman McCann,
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton,
yes.
Councilman Walshy,
Yes.
Councilman Grable,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Pugh.
Yes.
Do we have any updates? I'd like to say we have applied for a grant for the riverfront for 2 different docks. One at Scott Park, which is kayaks, canoes, the other one for the bigger boats at the Veterans Park. This land conservation grant is a $220,000 grant that we asked for. We have to match that. If we would get the grant, it'd be for $110, we gotta match $110. There's another grant that's actually, it's GRANT, same as grant. And we've applied for that grant that helps us with that matching grant. And I'd like to say, as of this week, we got approved for that secondary grant. So we got approved for $111,000. Now, we cannot get that until we see if we get the first grant from the Land Water Conservation Grant. But if we do get that, that gives us $220,000 ballpark to install these docks, and it will basically cost us $1,100. So that's, $220,000 grant, $1,200 out of pocket. But now that there is not, that land water conservation grant, sometimes it can be the end of the year, maybe later. We're hoping by the end of the year. The boat docks, we have been in contact with the Corps of Engineers. They tell me that the paperwork has been signed in Huntington. It's been shipped to Washington DC, which scares me. But when I said, how long will that take? They said usually when it goes to Washington, it's signed pretty quick when it clears. and that is to turn the ownership over to the boat docks, to the city of Vanceburg, where we actually own it. We've had the lease on the property, I think, since 1958, or whenever it was put in. And anyway, so that's proceeding, and, you know, it was my goal, you know, or dream, or whatever, there needs to be a campground down there. We have none in the city here, and they have put one or two in the county that's geared more for the four-wheeler and ATVs. Last thing I have to say on this update is our grand marshals were Corky Prater and Eddie Scott. And the first hour we put that on Facebook, it was 3,000 views. And we ended up with 43,000 views, is that right? That's unreal, you know. I mean, we've got several thousand followers, but that said a whole lot about those two guys there. They were phenomenal athletes. They've been productive to society. They live here in their hometown from day one. And anyway, they've reached out to a lot of young people that's really looked up to them.
Also, being great, we'd like to thank everybody that supported July 4th. As you've seen on Saturday night, there was a lot of people down here in town, so there brought a lot of people in, and, you know, it really does a lot of hard work. So, and the guys, they all worked hard all weekend, so I appreciate everybody supported. Thank you.
We had huge support on that. The crowd was, you can't gauge by the numbers. I know I drove out the south end at 9 o'clock before the fireworks went off, looking for a truck to pick up garbage when everything was over. And you know, I never went that far out and seen these vehicles parked, and they were walking to town. And the turnout for that was great. And I will say this, our guys at the maintenance shop, Joe Paul, myself, we all stayed out. We were working 2 o'clock in the morning finishing up. But I think one of the biggest things is if you've been down here on July 4th, when those fireworks go off at 10 o'clock, it's absolutely the crowd, the mess. And I've had church people tell me, said, you know, we're there for the fireworks, we come into church at 10 o'clock next morning, and it looks like nothing's ever happened here. But that says a whole lot about all the police department helped us clean up, the maintenance guys, you know, and I appreciate that, because we couldn't pull that off with the help of everybody, and Greta and Joe done a lot for that. So, thank you all. We have the floor open to Charles. Charles, you want to speak? Sorry.
I have 2 short questions. The first one, I'd like since the council and the mayor for letting me speak. I like the way that you went over there and tore up the entrance. Electric plant board went over there and kind of tore up the entrance there. Oakland Park Road. Okay. They had 5 or 6 pieces of equipment in there to make that antenna and get another signal something. And all they had to do is raise the antenna. So, I mean, I could have done that. Anyway, the other issue is I've got a property deed here that's been surveyed. And my question to you is, you remember where Mrs. Love lived there across from you when you lived there?
Yes.
And you remember the access road that went in behind her?
I knew there was a road at both houses used,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
It's been there for ever since that establishment of the Oakland Park Road has been there. It's been there for the power company to come in and set the poles and everything. Anyway, we've got an issue now with Barrett's who now live there. And with the Barrett's, they dropped a tree on the electric line that caused a lot of problems in my house. And now they've got stuff parked on that right of way and a fence up, so that my wife can't even get up there to get in and out to go to the doctor's office. She has to crawl up and down the stairs to the basement and out the basement door. I've got a lawyer that's looking into robbery and growth, And I'm hoping that it'll get established and taken care of. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Sue?
First time I heard that. It's the first time.
Well, he's talking about the road behind those
But
two
it's-
houses, but it's
it's
the
right
right of
outside
way
of
from
the-
the utility company. The city does not,
Yeah.
does not make road. It is sewer tax, right? Doris Dixon, would you like to say something?
I would like to ask John Griggle a question.
Sure.
Why are you so concerned about the budget for last year? And, you know, there was 2 audits. Are you questioning those people that did the audits? Are you taking their integrity?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, who are you holding responsible for that? I'm taking it as Dane and Greta.
Nope, it's not Dane and Greta.
Well, who in the hell spent the money if it ain't Dane and Greta?
That's a little inappropriate.
Well, it might be inappropriate, but you're the body.
And the concern that I have is being able to do things by the book and utilize city council for what they're supposed to be utilized for, instead of sidestepping city council and doing whatever you want. Now, the bottom line is, the proposal for the new budget is supposed to be put together by the mayor. Now, you guys keep throwing Greta under the bus. The bottom line here is Greta works for the mayor, and anything that the mayor needs to put the budget proposal together, I'm sure she'd be happy to get for him. But it's not Greta's responsibility. If you go to KRS, it's not Greta's responsibility to put the budget proposal together. And the budget proposal was not put together properly. Go to KRS and read it. If we can't abide by the rules and laws, then why are we even here? I don't understand why we even have a city council if you sidestep the city council and overspend 33 line items by $547,000 plus. And you wonder why I'm concerned? You're not concerned? Is anybody else not concerned?
I'm not concerned because I trust Greta and I trust Dane.
I'm not saying I don't, and nobody's ever accused anybody of.
Oh, well, what brought up the prostitution and the gambling? Excuse me?
Well, now, hold on. Go back and listen. Go back and listen to what was said. That was a, I reduced it to the ridiculous about an individual, not about people working for the city. An individual and an individual budget had nothing to do with anybody here.
It had no business being brought up during a special called council meeting. It was only for one thing only.
Yes, exactly. It was to put through the new budget, and they wanted to put through the new budget without giving the numbers on the old budget. And now, nobody wanted to hear it then, but now we have after the fact, completely after the fact, and in a new year, now what we have is them wanting to amend the budget to correct all the problems that I found in the budget. Now, if nobody cares about the budget, why are we amending it?
To satisfy you and to shut your mouth.
Oh, I don't think that's going to work.
I don't think anything's going to work.
That's right. I want things done legally and properly and above board. Yes.
John, I appreciate the effort that you put into, crunching the numbers, but that's not a task that everyone else has the information to do or the time to do, and certainly not as a citizen. And it's easy for you to come in and tell us these numbers. Where is the documentation?
Greg gave me the documentation.
I mean, could you share the documentation with everyone instead of just verbally saying $500,000?
Actually, Greg can actually print that same report and give it to everybody.
Well, I mean, I think if you found the information and you're sharing it with all of us.
Sweetie, I didn't find the information. The information came straight from the records.
But you came here tonight and shared the information, the numbers with people, but where is the details?
Well, I'll tell you what.
I mean, I would like to have the details if you wouldn't care to share with me.
I don't have them with me tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's good reading.
I'm sorry, John, but it's easy to come here and spout out these numbers.
I did spout out the numbers because those are the numbers. Those are the numbers that I was given.
I'd like to personally, I'd like to have the numbers from you. The details, not the numbers, the details.
All right.
Thank you.
I will bring them to the next meeting. That's what we'll do. We'll have a nice discussion about it.
I talked to you even before the meeting about it. I appreciate it.
Any more discussion before I go spend the city's money on prostitute?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, she did that done.
Get